Hello and welcome back to Culture Shock. My name is Fernanda.
I'm your faculty host Nathaniel, and we have two guests with us today from Austria. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Hello, my name is Victoria, and I'm from Austria, and I'm here for 1 semester in Puebla.
Yeah, my name is Helena. Hello, everyone. And I'm also from Austria, and yeah, I'm studying here for 1 semester and living with Victoria.
Okay, and they are with us today because our theme for this week is international exchange, study abroad, and we've got a lot to talk about. I know that I'm obviously not from Mexico. I'm teaching abroad. I've studied abroad. Also, Fer has studied abroad. Where you were in Taiwan, you said?
Yeah, I was in Taiwan. I was 6 months working as a volunteer and 1 month studying Chinese.
Okay. And the two of you, Victoria and Elena, where this is your first time studying abroad? Have you done other educational exchanges before, or?
It's my first time abroad, so I've just studied like the first 4 semesters.
Yeah.
In Austria, and like my 5th is now in Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah, for me the same. So studying is here the first time, but it's cool. I had to do practical training, and for 2 months I was in Spain for working in a hotel, in a big hotel complex.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you both traveled in Europe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course.
And where? Yeah, Europe is much easier to travel to many countries
Yeah.
and to speak many languages. But where have you traveled in Europe? You mentioned Spain.
Yeah.
So you knew a little Spanish before coming to Mexico?
Yeah.
Okay.
I learned it in school, so it's really cool, and I want to improve it. And Mexico, I think, is a good opportunity.
Okay. Yeah. And where else have you traveled in Europe?
And like obviously like in Germany, I've been to Italy a lot. I've been in Swiss. I've been in London a couple of times. Croatia.
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 Yeah.
Where else have I been? I've been to Malta, Spain. I think.
Yeah. Turkey, maybe.
No, I've not been to
Okay.
Turkey.
Yeah, I was in Turkey, Italy, Germany, Netherlands, Belgium, Spain, Great Britain with London, and Portugal. I think this is all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we have a lot to. We have your study abroad experience here in Mexico. We have travel experience in general. The differences, I'd imagine, in traveling in Europe versus traveling in Mexico are probably quite a bit different. And so we've got a lot to talk about today. But to sort of start us off, what is this? So we can tie this to the title of the show, right? Radio culture shock is what we call ourselves. But what exactly is culture shock? Can you give us? What's sort of a good definition, Fair?
Okay, culture shock is not only being unfamiliar with social norms or experiencing new food in another country. It is also how this affects the way the traveler think or behave. Yeah, more or less like that. And it has some different 4 steps for culture shock. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and these different stages, these different phases of adjusting to another culture, right? The initial sort of honeymoon stage, the stages of frustration, then stages of adjustment, and then stages of acceptance, right? And these are sort of phases that you go through in adjusting to, in fitting into a new culture. And I'm sure you guys can probably speak to this, but how can we define some of these stages? So the honeymoon stage, which unfortunately doesn't last forever, but is usually that initial phase that's extremely positive. Travelers tend to become just infatuated, right, with the language, with the customs, with the food, with the surroundings, with and the decision to travel in this phase seems like the best decision one could make, right? And it's an adventure, and it's going to last forever, right? But inevitably, right, you encounter the next stage, the frustration stage, right?
frustration. Okay, this is the most difficult stage where people don't feel comfortable with the new culture or country anymore. You can have fatigue,
Yeah.
fatigue, or you cannot understand the gestures and I think, and you can have this frustration, like the name is frustration stage.
Yeah, and little things can sometimes be blown way out of proportion, right?
Yeah.
You know, you lose your keys or you misunderstand something and you take the wrong bus or something like that, and that can become a much bigger problem in your mind than it might actually be in reality, right? But then, you know, the adjustment stage, which we mentioned, right? You adjust to your frustrations, you overcome these sorts of things, you feel more familiar, more comfortable with the different things that happen to you. Everyday life sort of settles in, and navigation becomes easier. Friends are easier to make, but also so navigating socially, right? And details, right, in language, right, or hand signals, and how these little details and nuances of the culture, you know, become more easier to navigate as well. And then finally,
We have the acceptance stage, which is the last stage of culture shock. And this doesn't mean that you understand completely the new culture and the environment, but now you accept it. What else? Now you have familiarity, and yeah, now you feel a little bit more part of that society.
yeah, and that you can, you know, live and thrive, right, in that environment with accepting that you'll never understand everything. So I'm wondering, to return to our guests, I mean, does this sound like a process that you've gone through, or are you still in the honeymoon stage, you know, just the semester in Mexico, or what sort of frustrations and where can you relate to this sort of structure, this sort of idea of culture shock in these 4 phases?
Yeah, I think the first step is it's true. So you came in a new country, you are excited of everything. I don't know if you have many, images, or I don't know, something about the country, but you are in a new world, in a new life. And honestly, I think I didn't pass the frustration stage. Maybe a little bit, that I think about home, or sometimes when you go do the shopping or something, or with the house.
Yeah, like things are
things, but
a little bit different in Mexico. They're done differently, and you have to like adjust to that. It's like the next step. But like at first you're like, okay, how should I do that? Like, I don't know, who should I call? And then there are like small problems, but I don't know, I think like, for example, in Mexico, the people are so nice and like open.
Yeah.
You can like ask anybody and you're like, okay, I have that problem, like, can you help me? And they help you. And then you're like, okay, with the situation again.
Yeah, and you know the next time how you can handle with this situation, or with similar things.
So how long have you guys been here in Mexico? When did you arrive? Just
At end of July in Cancun,
Yeah.
So on the 31st of July. And then we came 1 week later to Puebla. So
So where did you first travel to? You said Cancun?
Yeah, we've
okay.
been like 1 week to Cancun to make like
sorry.
a little holiday.
Okay, so you start in Cancun and then to school in Puebla.
Yeah.
And so what is so you mentioned, you know, some of the small frustrations, but generally a positive experience. What do you find, I mean, positive about living in? So you started in Cancun on the beach, right, on holiday, right? And then you came to Puebla, which is nowhere near the beach. The weather's a little bit different, right? What were your first impressions of Puebla?
So the first, when we arrived and we are in the airport, it was a little bit cold, but yeah, it's the different because it was summer. So, but I don't know. I think the first impression
I think it was very good.
Yeah.
Like we drive through like Cholula and Puebla to get to our house, and it was like, I don't know, you don't really imagine like a city in like Puebla at home. you don't have like really a vision, but like it was like positive. There were like a lot of people and colorful houses.
And also in Cholula, when we passed the Cholula, I think the first thing our driver told us, look at the pyramid of Cholula, it's the biggest one in the world. And I think I remember this, and I don't know, it was one of the first impressions.
Very impressive because it's like up there.
Yeah, and
like
with the church on the top.
church
So I don't know, I think you are more open when you know you're coming to a big country with so many different things, because you have the desert, you have the beaches, you have culture, I don't know how many different languages here, and so I think you think about it before you come here. So.
And Fer, what? So you said you studied in Taiwan. What was that like for you? When your first arrival in Taiwan, do you remember that?
My first time, I was in shock because before it I have traveled to Japan, and Japan is like a big city, but in Taiwan I was in a little city which is called Tainan. It's in the south of the island, and it was so little buildings, so a lot of motorcycles. It was like completely the opposite of what I imagined. I did have the honeymoon stage where I thought everything was awesome except from the weather. I hate the weather with all my heart. And then I had this frustration stage, but I think I still have it, because I don't know if that happens to you, but when you go to a restaurant and you don't know what's the thing that you want to order, like there are names, I don't know, like you see the name semita, and you don't know what is a semita, and you ask someone what is a semita, and they say, oh, it's bread with ham, with cheese, and like that. And you're like, but that's not a sandwich. And they're like, oh, no, it's way too different. So that happens to me every time I wanted to order something. I ask for what is that something, and they're like, oh, it's rice with meat. And then I ask for another thing. Oh, it's also rice with meat. What's the difference?
But that's like in Mexico when you ask somebody like, what's that? Oh, it's like a tortilla, like with meat and cheese
and salsa.
And then you ask something other, and it's like, oh yeah, it's a tortilla with meat and cheese, and then there's this sauce, but they're frijoles. And then you're like, okay, so it's basically the same. But this one is rolled. Okay,
sorry, way too different.
Sorry. So food's one thing that can cause some frustration or confusion.
Confusion.
Other, do you guys have other examples of that? I mean, how you mentioned Fer mentioned arriving in a very small city in Taiwan, we're in Japan, you spent time in Tokyo?
In Tokyo.
Which is obviously a gigantic
way
city.
Too different.
Puebla's a big city. You guys also mentioned Puebla as a sort of a different sort of place, a different type of city. What cities, I mean, you've traveled around Europe, you told us, but what are the differences between these cities in Mexico versus in Europe? I think you mentioned something specific about that.
Yeah, well, obviously they're way bigger. Like, if you know, like Austria has in total 8 million inhabitants. So, like
Mexico City
I
has
think
more.
I think like Puebla has like 3 or 4 or something like that.
I have no idea.
Somewhere around there. Yeah.
Somewhere around that. So it's like, for us, it's like a huge city. But then we got to Mexico City, and then it was like, okay. But like, I think like somehow the cities are very similar. All have like those, like
the center
where there's like a church and a park, museums, and like a lot of shopping centers. I think like Mexico has like a huge influence of United States. They have like basically all the same shops. We have like a lot of food chains. So that was very familiar. So it was very easy because you know where to go and what you like.
And so that's something that always interests me. So when you're here in Puebla, do you walk around a lot, or do you walk more in, say, Vienna than you do in Puebla, or do you take or is it about the same?
I think it like, depends.
Yeah.
Because if you're, for example, in Vienna, it's for us also a little bit holiday for a weekend or something, and you want to see something. And Puebla is where you live, so I don't know. It's the different, because in Vienna you will walk maybe more because you want to see the city, you want to see the sights, everything. But here it's more you walk maybe 1 week because you want to know everything, and then you will travel, or we go by Uber or
But like,
something.
we don't have Uber in Vienna, so
Okay.
you can only take a taxi, which is super
Or the
expensive,
metro.
or the bus. But
Okay.
like,
It's very more expensive.
yeah, it's expensive, and you have to get to know like the bus system and everything. But I think that's the same in Puebla. I don't
Yeah.
get the bus system.
No.
Like, I think never.
It can be a little tricky to figure out exactly what bus goes where.
Yeah, so we take like a lot of Uber because it's super inexpensive and very easy.
Yeah, it's really easy for us, and I think.
So you don't. Have you tried to take the bus yet, or
In
it didn't
Cancun
work?
we tried,
Okay.
yeah, and it was a little bit strange for us because the buses, I don't know, the drive with open doors and you have the feeling maybe you fall out, but it's only okay. It was the first week, so.
Okay, and so we're coming up on a break here, but what other cities have you visited in Mexico? Cancun, you said Mexico City, Puebla.
Mexico City, Puebla,
Then we've been to Oaxaca.
yeah,
and
Oaxaca,
Puerto Escondido.
Tasco,
Yeah.
Atlisco,
Yeah. Last week we've been to Zacatlan.
Cuetzalan, and
That's lovely.
next week we are going to Guadalajara,
in
Guanajuato. So
Okay, wow. So you've been traveling quite a bit. That's
We
that's
tried.
great. So we'll want to know a bit more about that, and maybe comparing travel to different places in Europe to travel within different places, to different places within Mexico and things like that. But also, advice and ideas about travel for people studying abroad and that sort of thing. But we're up on a break. We'll be back in just a moment. This is Radio Culture Shock.
UPAEP, rumbo al 50 aniversario. Misión.
Crear corrientes de pensamiento y formar líderes que transformen a la sociedad, en la búsqueda de la verdad, integrando fe, ciencia y vida. Valores.
Junto a la verdad, el bien y la belleza, nuestra universidad sostiene como valores rectores la dignidad de la persona humana, la libertad, la solidaridad, la subsidiariedad, la congruencia, el respeto, el amor y la justicia. Visión.
Somos una comunidad universitaria fraterna, congruente, alegre y comprometida, que es referente en la conjunción del pensamiento humanista, cristiano y las ciencias, que forma integralmente líderes con alta calidad profesional y compromiso social. Contribuye a la transformación de la sociedad con propuestas pertinentes, orientadas a la consecución del bien común. Tiene presencia e influencia en los ámbitos local, regional, nacional e internacional. Centra la gestión en la persona y optimiza los recursos al servicio de la misión institucional. Líneas rectoras.
Atreverse a vivir congruentemente nuestra identidad, como ejemplo de virtud en el servicio, con respeto y amor al prójimo, para la transformación social en orden al bien común.
Privilegiar a través de la academia la formación humanista cristiana en busca de la excelencia científica y profesional, con pensamiento universal y trascendencia social.
Crear sistemas académicos de auténtica pertinencia social, a través de la docencia, investigación y extensión, para enriquecer la cultura y participar en la solución de los problemas fundamentales del país.
Involucrarse en la formación y desarrollo intercultural de la comunidad universitaria a través de ámbitos y vínculos de internacionalización.
Lograr ambientes de confianza, colaboración y servicio, dentro de una cultura de austeridad, transparencia y evaluación. UPAEP, rumbo al 50 aniversario.
we are back again, and what? I forgot. Sorry.
So we were discussing travel within Mexico. We have our two European guests, Victoria and Elena, from Austria, and we're discussing travel within Mexico, experience as international exchange students. And I think we left off with, you gave a long list of places that you've traveled in Mexico and places that you plan on traveling. What is your experience been traveling within Mexico? Have you been taking buses or flying, or what have been some of your experiences with that?
Well, I think we've been flying, which was very easy. It was okay.
Yeah,
Like
pretty
we take some buses. We also made like some trips with some organizations where they do that for us, or we have like some Mexican friends who take us somewhere.
Yeah.
So with car.
And we tried the colectivos.
Oh yeah, we tried colectivos.
And in Cancun, as we say, the bus is the city bus.
The city bus.
But you mentioned, say, going to Quetzalan, right?
Yeah.
So did you take a bus or a car there? Okay. And how?
Super easy.
Yeah.
Like you take like the ADO bus, it takes you straight to Quetzalan. And
That's really cool because I don't know how we can compare it, but there are the bus station or the terminals here in Puebla, and it's very easy that you can find every step or every I don't know city you want to go, and you take the bus and you go. So.
Yeah, and the buses are super punctual and they're like very like
comfortable, good, really cool. Yeah,
and like for us very inexpensive because like public train and also bus system in Europe is sometimes very expensive.
Okay, so when you travel in Europe and to different cities in Europe, do you typically travel by train, or is there an extensive bus system, or?
The bus system but more the train or the flight. So it depends. Yeah, it depends in which.
So you also
country.
fly a lot within Europe.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I guess talking to a lot of my friends, I've yet to travel to Europe. I've never been to any country over there, but all of my friends, they're gringos with their backpacks and they take the train, right? And everybody talks about how excellent the trains are in Europe. But I mean, would you agree, or is it's easier to fly sometimes?
I think like train is very good. Like they offer like something. It's called.
You mean the Interrail or?
Yeah, Interrail. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean like Interrail, you can make that in summer. You buy that and
it's a ticket, and you have special. I don't know. I didn't made it, but it's for special steps or how often you're going into a train. This counts, or how many cities you want to see. This counts in this ticket, and you have to pay this ticket in general first, and then you can.
So you pay it up front, and then you can.
Exactly, and it's like super easy to travel then everywhere, and it's especially for young people who want to travel through Europe. So you can make like a lot of steps with that, and it's very easy.
In general, very often. I don't know, special prices for younger people or elder people or families, so there are also very
they have like very good connections also, like if you want to go to Paris, it's super fast. It's like I think like the same time as you would fly with your train, like when you include like boarding and
going to the airport
so you're like
And so, so here in Mexico, traveling by bus isn't a big adjustment to make. You find the buses?
No, I think they're very good.
Yeah, and it's cool because you can, you can drive with the bus. For example, when we went with the bus from Oaxaca to Puerto Escondido, and it was in the night, and I don't know, it was only mountains or something. I can't remember, but it's really cool because with the train, it's not very easy going there. I said because the way is a little bit difficult.
And what about you, Fer, in traveling? So you're traveling in Japan and Taiwan. I mean, what's the typical way to get around in those places?
Okay, Taiwan is very, very little.
So it's easy.
Yeah, it's way too easy. They have train. You can go from north to south in the train like in 4 hours, and if you take high-speed train, 2 hours, and you can already know the whole island. But usually I like to take buses because it's very, very cheap. I mean, there's a lot of traffic jam and maybe you will be there like for 6-8 hours, but it's very, very cheap. And I don't think there are like bad quality. Actually, I thought you were going to complain about the bus in Mexico because I hate it. I really hate it.
If you go with EDO or something, the buses are very good.
Yeah, they're
I
really
think.
cool. I like the movies they show.
Yeah.
Maybe because you pay the expensive one, but there are like other brands that are cheaper, and I hate them because sometimes you can see people going to the bus with a pizza, and then the whole way to Mexico City it will smell like pizza. It's horrible.
Okay, that's not so.
Yeah, and sometimes a couple of times I've taken the wrong line, and it ends up being like a local bus, so it stops. It doesn't get on the quota, and it takes the local roads and sort of stops, and it picks people up, wherever in the middle of the countryside somebody wants to take the bus into town, so they jump on the bus. But yeah, I mean, I also really like the buses here because in the United States, right, the buses are sort of notorious for being. I mean, between different cities, there are some bus lines that work well, but if you want to go a long distance, it's terrible, right? The bus companies in the United States have a very bad reputation. Greyhound is probably the most famous one. But and also the trains. I mean, you can take trains for a long distance, and if you pay like a very expensive ticket, like to go cross country, you can get a nice cabin and private cabin and all that sort of thing. But they're expensive and they're not fast. It takes a very long time to travel by train in the United States. So most of my experience traveling back in my country is in a private car, which is easy. It's very easy in the United States to do that, but you have to also know where you're going and what you're doing. And I've driven in Mexico, but that's
That's another topic.
That's another topic. I mean, it was easier than I thought it would be. But I don't know. Do you drive here?
Yeah, I drive in here, but I don't dare to drive in Mexico City.
No, okay.
No, it's horrible. It's way too difficult.
And you guys haven't driven in?
Oh, well, I've been driving in Cancun
Okay.
to Tulum and to
Los Colorados.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how was that's a different part of the country, but how did you find driving? Wasn't it an adjustment to?
Well, the driving was very okay, but like I had some troubles with the police.
Oh, okay.
So it was not that good.
Hopefully not too much.
And it was like, you have to be like aware that when they say there's no, like, it didn't happen to me, but you have to be aware like they don't have like gas stations for 80 kilometers.
Okay, yeah.
And that's like something you have to be aware, because if you don't know that at first, you're gonna end up somewhere.
Without any.
Yeah, it doesn't happen to me, but like somebody told me. And, yeah.
And so, what about other forms of adjustment? How do you keep in contact? I guess it's probably a lot different today with Skype and all that sort of thing. I remember when I first traveled, when I studied abroad here in Mexico. That was almost 16 years ago when I came as a university student. But we didn't have international cell phones and Skype and all that sort of thing. So for me, I had to buy a phone card and, charge it up and put it in the payphone and dial and like wait until the payphone in my dormitory was free, and I'd, call my parents once a week. But I imagine it's probably not that difficult to keep in contact back home.
Well, it's easy because of like WhatsApp and Skype and everything.
And the Wi-Fi everywhere.
Yeah, but like it's like hard because we have like a huge time difference, because like we have like 7 hours. So like when you get up, it's like
it's middle of the
it's
afternoon.
like
It's middle of the afternoon. All the families in the work, or when they want to go to bed, it's. And here
It's
in
like
Mexico,
midday.
it's midday, and
Yeah.
maybe
You have to go
there
to
you have,
university.
maybe there you have a little bit time, but I think this is the only problem. Yeah,
Okay.
That's sometimes
with the
hard.
time, but with everything others. So as you said, with the international phones or with WhatsApp and everything, it's really easy. Yeah.
So you haven't been homesick at all, or is there anything you miss from home, like a certain type of food?
Oh yeah,
or-
like I miss food at home,
Yeah,
because
me
it's
too.
like totally different here. But I like Mexican food, but sometimes I'm like,
Too many tortillas.
no, but it's
A little bit too spicy sometimes, but
Spice, okay.
yeah, like you miss sometimes. I miss like real bread, like in Australia.
yeah,
like
really,
really
a
good
lot
bread.
of bread, like
Okay.
with.
Yeah.
I heard, yeah, I forget who I was speaking to, but I didn't realize that. I think he was from Germany, but saying there's no real bread in Mexico. And I said, no, but the pan dulce. And he said, I mean, that's okay, but if you've ever had German bread, and I assume it's similar in Austria. So this is as good as time as any. Somebody explain this to me. What is European bread? They're specifically German or Austrian bread. What is? I don't. I've never had any.
I don't know. It's like a whole like. I don't know how to say it in English, but it's like a whole. It's like way more healthier. We don't have like only white bread. We have like with a lot of seeds and corn and everything, and it's like what you in Mexico call integral or multigral. But it's not really like when you buy that. It's not really.
It's also white here. White.
It's like white bread, but just with a little bit of
the
happy.
So is it more like a?
It's like
artisan? Is it like a you go to a bakery to buy the bread?
Yeah, and then we have like very good like pastry, like tupfungolacha, or like we have very good cakes and everything. So and like pretzel. You don't really get like pretzel in Mexico.
Okay.
So there are some special because they are a little bit. I think they have all a little bit of different taste at home. So if you buy something with multigrano. Or a dark bread, it's different because it's only, I don't know, it tastes different and it's
very good.
This is the thing we miss a little bit because here are only toast bread or light bread.
Tortillas.
And when you traveled to Taiwan and Japan, what did you miss most about Mexican food?
I know everything, really everything, because something that I always complain about Taiwanese food is that it is sweet. And they explained to me that it is because long time ago sugar was very expensive, so a way to show that they were rich, they add sugar to everything. So the food nowadays is very, very, very sweet, and I don't like that. I like my salty and full of lemon food, you know.
Yeah.
And then in there I go and ask sometimes for lemon, for a piece of lemon, and they give me really, really a little piece of lemon. It's like, no, give me everything. And then another thing that I hate with all my heart, because I hate food, is that we have in here beans, and our beans are salty. In their beans are sweet, and you can find them in desserts. So I don't like to have like my beverage of beans or my cake with beans or like that.
Okay. I can see that. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I don't know if I miss any specific foods from the United States. I think most U.S. food you can get here. I mean, certain regional special things like from, or I guess one thing that I miss are, I mean, you can get pancakes here, or what do they call them? Hot cakes. I guess they call them here. But where I'm from, there's a lot of maple syrup. So I'm from Vermont, which is up in New England, close to Quebec in Canada, and real maple syrup that isn't just maple flavoring, right? And I've had hotcakes here with the creme or the marmalade or whatever, but it's not the same. I mean, they're good, but it's not the same as real maple syrup and flavored maple flavoring isn't the same. So I guess I missed that. So more regional things, but most U.S. food, I think, and a lot of U.S. chains are here. But what about coffee?
Oh, I like the coffee.
The coffee
the coffee is really good, but it's a little bit more strong, I think, because sometimes in the university I'm sitting here and shaking up, so I'm only drinking 1 cup, but okay. But it's really good.
Okay. And I will talk about school and your studies here in the 3rd section. But what other than travel, what sort of activities have you become involved with, or is it mostly travel?
I think the most part is traveling, but we also started the dancing course, which is offering from UPAP. But at the moment we don't have that much time because of traveling, and and I don't know, at the moment there are also the last exams and the last things for university to do. But I think the most time is traveling and enjoying the time. And we have some Mexican friends now, and they're invited us also to get the traditional family things, to get to know to them.
Like normal Mexican life.
Really normal Mexican life, which is also very interesting.
And so how's the dancing going? Do you go out salsa dancing, cumbia dancing? Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's
Cumbia,
okay.
I think, is
It's
okay.
like, I think like it's very similar to like, not waltz, but like some other dances we have like in Austria and generally in Europe. So it's like it's quite kind of similar, but like a little bit more different, a little bit more hips. And
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's, we like it.
Yeah.
And what sort of you mentioned sort of the family life. What have you been to any weddings or baptisms, or what sort of things have you experienced?
I think
we've
it,
been to like
in the first or
birthdays.
second week we were in a birthday party, and we thought it's a birthday party for because
he said it's a friend of
20 and 24
Four.
years, I think it was the birthday of 24 years. And yeah, we are coming there, bringing some alcohol to drink, and then we thought maybe we go out, and we come in, and there is the whole family with eating mariachi, and we're like, okay,
We
wow.
were like very shocked because there were like servers who
Yeah.
like served your food, and there
They
was
had
like,
food.
yeah, and they had like a lot of food, and then there was like a mariachi band, and like the whole family was there, like even the small kids,
you
like
were-
everybody.
You're welcome from the first
Yeah.
second you enter the room, so it was
Yeah.
very familiar but very friendly. But it was also a little bit, not shock, but a little bit
Uh,
surprise.
Yeah,
A surprise.
like first moment it was surprise because you're expecting something out of
Yeah.
it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Fair, did you get to experience any family life when you were living in Taiwan? Or?
Yeah, I was living with a host family, and I really think that the family in there is way too cold because my mother usually called me Fer. She doesn't say Maria Fernanda Ramirez Perez because it's way too long, and I don't know, it's cold for us. But in Taiwan, it's very common that the parents call their children name completely, the whole name. So I think it's weird. And I also had the experience to go to a wedding, and I don't like it.
Really?
Yeah, because usually in their weddings are like you go, you eat, and then you can go away. And I don't know if you have ever heard about weddings in here, but it's like you go to church, you go to a party, then you eat, you dance, you eat again, and you dance, and then until morning, maybe 7 a.m. It's very long. And there was just like go, eat, go.
Oh,
Yeah, that's all.
Okay, so a little more formal, a little more, or
more cold.
yeah, or-
Yeah, they like to eat. They eat for everything, yeah, like us. But in here we have also dance,
okay.
party.
So the dancing, yeah. And what? So I don't know when our next break is, but I guess we have another couple minutes. What have you brought with you from Austria that you've shared with your Mexican friends? Or have you been able to cook for them at all, or to share with them any, or have those opportunities not quite presented themselves?
I don't know, because it's different. We tried to bring chocolate, but the first week we were in Cancun, we thought about it when we were at home. It is not a good idea to bring Austrian chocolate, for example, the Mozartkugel, I don't know, from Salzburg. Or Manna, I don't know if you know it, the pink chocolate.
No.
And so, I don't know, so really food we can really
but
bring.
we didn't cook like for friends because like we wanted to, but it's like super hard to get all these ingredients
Okay, yeah.
because they're not like common here, so it's way more
Difficult
work and way more difficult
And
to get
also
it.
to
So
cook it.
we have not managed that yet, but maybe we will see.
Yeah.
Okay. And Fair, were you able to bring were you able to do any cook any Mexican dishes for your host family, or bring anything? It was
I didn't cook anything, but as a good Mexican, I took my salsa with me.
so you brought salsa for them.
Yeah, I ate it every day.
So you brought it for your own.
Yeah.
To survive.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
I can live without it.
Okay, so it looks like we're up on another break, and we will have one last section of the show, and we're talking about culture shock, but also international exchanges. So we will probably want to talk a little bit about how school's going. That is, I guess, the official reason you're here is to study. So so we'll talk about that when we come back. But right now we're up on a break. This is Radio Culture Shock.
UPAEP, rumbo al 50 aniversario. Misión.
Crear corrientes de pensamiento y formar líderes que transformen a la sociedad, en la búsqueda de la verdad, integrando fe, ciencia y vida. Valores.
Junto a la verdad, el bien y la belleza, nuestra universidad sostiene como valores rectores la dignidad de la persona humana, la libertad, la solidaridad, la subsidiariedad, la congruencia, el respeto, el amor y la justicia. Visión.
Somos una comunidad universitaria fraterna, congruente, alegre y comprometida, que es referente en la conjunción del pensamiento humanista, cristiano y las ciencias, que forma integralmente líderes con alta calidad profesional y compromiso social. Contribuye a la transformación de la sociedad con propuestas pertinentes, orientadas a la consecución del bien común. Tiene presencia e influencia en los ámbitos local, regional, nacional e internacional. Centra la gestión en la persona y optimiza los recursos al servicio de la misión institucional. Líneas rectoras.
Atreverse a vivir congruentemente nuestra identidad, como ejemplo de virtud en el servicio, con respeto y amor al prójimo, para la transformación social en orden al bien común.
Privilegiar a través de la academia la formación humanista cristiana en busca de la excelencia científica y profesional, con pensamiento universal y trascendencia social.
Crear sistemas académicos de auténtica pertinencia social, a través de la docencia, investigación y extensión, para enriquecer la cultura y participar en la solución de los problemas fundamentales del país.
Involucrarse en la formación y desarrollo intercultural de la comunidad universitaria a través de ámbitos y vínculos de internacionalización.
Lograr ambientes de confianza, colaboración y servicio, dentro de una cultura de austeridad, transparencia y evaluación. UPAEP, rumbo al 50 aniversario.
So we're back with Radio Culture Shock, and we also we forgot to include this earlier. We do have our Vox Populi this week about travel and exchange. So we'll give that a listen to members of our UPAB community, and then we'll be back with our guests.
Hola amigos de Culture Shock. Hoy vamos a conocer un poco acerca de las experiencias de intercambio de los estudiantes UPAEP. ¿Has estado de intercambio?
Sí, una vez.
¿En qué país?
En Canadá.
¿Y nos puedes contar un poco de tu experiencia en tu intercambio?
Fue muy padre porque en ese tiempo yo no hablaba mucho inglés, no conocía a nadie y fue ir a vivir solo en un país donde no conoces la lengua, no conoces a nadie y ni siquiera sabes cómo es el clima, porque yo sabía que iba a estar muy diferente a mis condiciones de acá.
¿Tienes como alguna historia divertida en que te haya pasado durante tu intercambio?
Sí, el primer día, de hecho, por acá en México estamos acostumbrados a cruzar las calles por cualquier parte, y el primer día que estuve ahí, como a las 2 horas de haber llegado, crucé la calle justo en medio de la acera y me detuvo un policía y me regañó y fue un problema, pero fue divertido.
¿Alguna vez has estado en otro país?
Sí,
¿Me puedes contar en cuál?
estuve en Canadá hace un año, en Vancouver.
¿Y cuál fue tu experiencia? ¿Tienes como alguna anécdota chistosa sobre el choque cultural que nos puedas contar?
Pues así chistoso, nada más que como que te identificabas con los latinos muy fácil allá. Y es lo único.
¿Y qué me puedes contar como del cambio de cultura? ¿Qué cosas identificaste diferentes en la cultura de Canadá y en la cultura de México?
De lo que me di cuenta, así de que me intrigó mucho es lo de las escaleras eléctricas, que allá como que respetan de que un lado es para que subas caminando y el otro es para esperar, nada más. Es lo único.
¿Alguna vez has estado en otro país?
Sí,
¿En qué país has estado?
el semestre pasado de vacaciones en Semana Santa fui a Perú.
A Perú. ¿Y cuál fue una experiencia que nos puedas contar de la diferencia de cultura entre México y Perú?
Bueno, pues primero que nada, desde que llegas, inmediatamente que te bajas del avión, como es un país con muchísima altura, Cuando bajas del avión te dan tabaco para que muerdas y no te duele la cabeza. Y así.
¿Tienes alguna experiencia chistosa o algo extraño que te haya pasado en ese país?
Ah, casi perdí mi pasaporte, pero me lo devolvieron ahí justamente en la banqueta en la que lo dejé, lo dejaban. Porque pues sí, la gente es muy cuidadosa ahí con los turistas, la verdad. Y lo aprecio mucho.
¿Y qué puedes rescatar de la cultura del país que visitaste?
Pues el trato a los animales, ese sí me sorprendió demasiado. También es la comida muy sabrosa, con muchas especias, eso sí. Y pues también los lugares, los paisajes que tiene. Tuve la oportunidad de visitar Machu Picchu y también fue una experiencia increíble, la verdad.
¿Alguna vez has estado de intercambio en otro país?
Sí,
¿En qué país?
en Canadá.
¿Me puedes contar un poco de tu experiencia?
Pues la verdad fue una experiencia pues única, ya que lo disfruté, más parte aprendí y sobre todo hice nuevas amistades y pude conocer sobre sus culturas y entre otras cosas.
¿Identificaste en tu intercambio alguna diferencia cultural entre la cultura de México y la del país que visitaste?
Sí, claro, sobre todo en el aspecto del respeto hacia el entorno, en todas las personas, en cuanto a educación, cuando vas a tomar un transporte, allá te esperan, hacen fila, te dan paso a mujeres embarazadas. En cambio aquí pues no, es muy diferente. Acá no respetan mucho esas leyes.
¿Alguna vez has estado de intercambio o has tenido alguna experiencia en otro país?
Sí,
¿En cuál?
en Canadá.
¿Y qué me puedes contar de la diferencia cultural?
Es bastante. En primer lugar, en los servicios públicos, o sea, en los autobuses, en el metro, yo me he dado cuenta de que todo el mundo anda como respetando y siempre le dan como preferencia a las personas mayores de los lugares, también a las mujeres embarazadas, y cosa que es lo que no veo en México, que se dé.
Ok. ¿Y alguna vez tuviste como alguna experiencia chistosa que te haya pasado del cambio de cultura o alguna experiencia?
Bueno, no chistosa, pero hay algo que sí es, o sea, que en México estamos como que batallando es con la delincuencia, de que ya no es muy fácil que estemos como mujeres solas en la calle, y pues allá es como a las 3 de la madrugada, a las 4, andar caminando y tener seguridad de que no te vaya a pasar nada, pero ya sabes, como buenos mexicanos, o sea, obviamente tenemos miedo, estamos así que, ay, nos va a pasar algo, pero no, cada quien está en su mundo y te respeta.
Muchas gracias.
Okay, we're back, and we are joined by the man behind the scenes, Alan, one of the coordinators in the language department for this show, and also instructor of several classes.
Yeah. Well, hello. It's a pleasure as always to be here. And yeah. So what are you guys talking about today?
So we've been talking a lot about travel and within Mexico and culture shock and adjustment and differences with home. But this is a good part that this last section we wanted to ask our visitors about their experiences as students here at UPAEP. So you mentioned that you're taking classes about Mexican culture, but also Spanish classes. Could you tell us a little bit about, the adjustment from being a student in Austria and other, what the classes are like here, and how does it fit in well with your travel? Is it helping you adjust with the culture and everything?
So to Austria, I think in general Europe, there are some differences because, for example, you don't have the midterms each month, so you have final exams and over the whole semester at the final, when the course stops. And so I think you're more independent, and here you're more like, I don't know, in school or guided and forced, and you have to do, and you have homeworks. And I think my last homework in Austria I did was in the high school or something, or in the secondary school. So
wow.
Yeah, there are some differences, but
we do have some projects
we do
to
have
deliver, but they're like not really homeworks. Like here you get like a task and you have to do this assignment or something. You have like to do like projects or plan something, but it's like incorporated in the class and the content we're making.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, I don't know, now in the last partial I think we feel a little bit because the syllabus was, yeah, okay, in the final section we do this, this, this and this, and now everything is, I don't know, everything is different, unorganized, a little bit unorganized, and now you don't have exams in this, but you have to do this, and okay, I thought we have the final exam now, and we plan a little bit more during the semester, and now a little bit have changes.
Okay.
So yeah,
so yeah, it's very different. Like in Austria, you're way more independent.
Yeah,
like you said.
And you have really from the first day in university in the semester until the last one, the syllabus it didn't change, or it didn't. Yeah. I think in the last 2 years it didn't change in any course.
No.
And here they are a little bit relaxed with it.
And what about some of the specific courses you're taking? You mentioned you're taking a course in Mexico, what
Mexico, Mexico? Yeah,
isn't that's what it's called?
That's a cool name. That's a cool name.
So that's geared for international students specifically.
Yeah, it's only for international.
So what kind of things are you learning in there?
Well, I think it's very interesting. We're like making like at the beginning we made like general like culture about Mexico, and
for example also the meaning of the pyramids, what the Mayas and everything, what they plan or what was in their head. And now it's more interested. You have more ideas when you travel to these places, and you have more. I think you feel more. You think more. Yeah, you have more background. You think more about it when you are there, or you're saying, "Oh, look, we learned it in Mexico. Look." And Iki and I, we always said it when we were in Mexico City, and the others who travel with us. So okay, it's okay. We say, "Look, Mexico, look." There again.
Yeah,
so
it's very cool, and we do like learn a lot about all the festives like in each month.
Yeah,
like
the special
Independence
events.
Day or like Dia de los Muertos, and like all of that we learn like a lot, and it's also like very helpful sometimes because you learn like what kind of things are happening on that day and what you could do, like what you could visit, what would be great like to see. I think that was very like helpful. Also.
What was your opinion of Day of the Dead? Did you like it?
I really like it. But I think it was too short.
Yeah,
it is too short,
it
right?
Is only 1 day or few days, so 2 days, but you don't feel it really. And
it's full of tradition, meaning, right? It
and
has
magic.
like these deep roots and magic. Yes.
Yeah,
it's
it's
the
like
colors.
totally different than in Europe. It's like sad and
the family goes to the church, then to the
graveyard,
and
then you
you eat something
like coffee and something, and that's it. And you talk.
And the weather is most of the time foggy and cold, and you have to put the winter jacket on, and very triste.
We're famous for making out of everything a fiesta, right?
Yeah.
And were you in Puebla for Dia de los Muertos, or did you travel?
We've been here, but we've been like with our course Mexico, we've going to Xochimilco.
Yeah, Xochimilco, and there we have some activities to do, but it was very interested. It was very interested, and we visited the families there and their ofrendas, and so we really feel the spirit and everything, and it was very familiar.
It was like very nice to see, because like you saw like that families don't have like much. They have like a simple home and everything, but they were like so nice because we were like a big group. They were like, come take
they
the
gave
bread,
everyone the bread, the hot chocolate,
and they were so
super
nice. It was
nice.
very like.
But yeah, as you said, it should probably be made longer. You know, like a whole week of Day of the Dead.
We saw something in Oaxaca, but it was the weekend before. We saw only the building up stuff, but I don't know. I think. It was also very cool here in Puebla, and during the day we were in the city center of Puebla because of the Spanish class. We went with our Spanish teacher, and it's also very interesting because you if you don't have the connections or something, you don't find these places where the ofrendas or something are.
Cool.
And like I've been to Mexico City the weekend before, and then there was the parade, which everybody told me like it's not really Mexican, because
Which one?
like
Desfile.
this
Oh, the parade.
desfile,
Okay.
yeah. Because like they just invented it because of the James Bond movie.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it
that
was very
sounds-
cool.
yeah.
And like I told that like my Mexican friends and they were like, "Oh, I've never been there." Because like it's
Yeah,
just, from
just
you,
yeah,
and-
exactly.
3-4
But it was
years
very,
or something.
You
very
should-
cool.
Have you watched that movie?
No.
No. Well, that's when it all started. But I think it's
But-
now a big thing, and
Yeah,
it's,
it's very cool. I
it's
like
gonna
it.
become something traditional. So
Mhm.
it's,
Yeah.
don't worry about it. It's gonna be fun. Yes.
I
And-
still haven't seen the movie Coco.
Yeah,
Did
we-
you?
Yeah, we
You
saw
saw the
that.
movie Coco.
It's beautiful,
Everybody
right?
knows.
So you have to
We
watch
had a
it.
special last year on that when it was coming out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And well, I don't know. Have you asked them their favorite word?
No, we
No?
haven't. We haven't asked.
So
our
it's just a
classic
tradition
question.
to have our guests tell us what their favorite word in Spanish is. Do you have any?
Yeah, I think we have some, but it depends. I like the word mariposa.
Mariposa. Okay.
Yeah, because in German it's a hard word, and everyone who learns German, I think, who thinks that it's a stupid word.
Okay. I'm not gonna be able to say it, but can I listen to it?
Schmetterling.
Wow.
And
Yeah,
it's
it's hard.
It's hard for a mariposa.
Yeah, it's like,
Okay.
mariposa.
Yeah. But we also have some, I don't know, like the way or the slang, the
like the
teenage,
slang.
yeah, the
Teenage words like they only
The
say
Mexican.
Mexican like way.
no mommy's way.
way.
Yeah, they're cool.
That's fun.
Yeah.
So mariposa. And do you have any other that you like?
I'm thinking about it. I don't know.
A hard word, something you cannot say even today.
There are many cities, or especially
Yeah,
in Mexico,
like-
many
The
like,
cities, like the old names.
or also the Teotihuacan, we pronounce it in the wrong way.
Or like
Okay.
everybody says like we say like Popocatépetl, we say it wrong.
No, it sounded right for me
That
at
sounds
least.
about right.
Yeah.
I think it's Popocatépetl, or it's the I don't know.
No, it's interesting. So
It's
those.
like the old words they are
Yeah,
like
the
so
old words.
hard.
Okay, cool. That sounds very very hard, right?
And yeah.
And what was your favorite word that you learned during your study abroad in Chinese?
My favorite word, I think it's 麻烦, which
What?
is like something that bothers you.
Okay.
How do you say it?
麻烦.
Wow.
But it doesn't sound like something that bothers you, like, how 麻烦, like, so annoying.
No, it doesn't sound like something annoying.
So
Sounds
it's
like
so
soft.
cute.
Yeah,
Teddy
exactly.
bear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is my mafan, right?
And I guess to move in to the final sort of segment of the show, what have you, as study abroad students, as exchange students, what now that you're, I mean, it's November, so you're almost done with the semester.
Yes.
Hopefully you'll have time to travel after your final exams before going home for winter. But what advice would you have for, now that you're seasoned veterans, right? What advice do you have for future study abroad students, or maybe students who are thinking about studying abroad but haven't made up their mind yet if they want to do it? What recommendations, what advice would you have for them?
I think it's very important maybe to have a person, or I don't know, maybe because of university or the other university, to have a connection person. You can ride with them, they can maybe pick you up on the airport or something. They can help you in the first day, because often many universities have the buddy program, I don't know, and I think it helps a lot for students.
Yeah. When you come here and you know somebody.
Or also you know
Yeah.
him before you come, so you can ride with him.
Yeah. And like, just take it easy.
Take it easy.
Take it easy.
And
Like,
relax.
enjoy.
And what would be your most important recommendation for students who want to come to Mexico specifically?
Mexico.
Just one recommendation.
Oh, just one is hard.
Well, then two.
I think like you have to try everything.
Yeah.
Like no matter if it's food or anything else.
Yeah.
I think you have to try everything.
You have to be open, because Mexicans are very open, and you should also be an open-minded person.
Okay.
And don't be afraid.
No, don't
Like,
be afraid. Like
because
everyone is
there's, like-
saying in Europe or at home,
Mexico
what,
is so
Mexico?
So dangerous.
Yeah.
With my grandparents
But, like,
as well.
Don't be afraid. Like
Yeah.
have you be assured. Like you have to be aware.
But
that is a little
you
bit
have to be
different.
respect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Okay. Well, thank you very much for being
Thank you
here.
very
It
much.
was so nice for you accepting the invitation, and thank you guys for having me at least in the last section.
Yeah, it's always good to have you back.
Yeah.
I don't know if our listeners remember, we were both here every week last spring.
Last spring, yeah.
Anyway, but yes, thanks again. Enjoy the rest of your semester.
Thank you very much.
And next week we're going to having a special show on Thanksgiving.
A couple weeks early,
but yeah, we'll have a special guest as well, and we'll be very excited.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, and this
is Radio Culture Shock. We'll see you next week.